All right. Here on our news from Times Tabloid, it says here, analyst maps XRP route toward $27 as this major indicator flashes. Now, what if I told you that one single chart is causing a massive wave of shockwaves through the entire digital asset space right now? We aren't talking about simple moving averages, in which we certainly aren't talking about a temporary social media hype trend. This is June 2026, and a major technical confluence is staring us right in the face on the XRP macro chart. If you have been watching the market move sideways and wondering when the real action is going to begin, you need to pay very close attention to what we are discussing on this video. Well, a well-known market analyst here just unveiled what they call the grand chart for XRP. This isn't just a random guess. It is a master blueprint that maps out a path all the way up to $27.68. But to understand how we get there, we have to look at how four different advanced technical tools are locking into the exact same price zones. So let's break down exactly what is happening under the hood and see why the next major decision window is closer than most people realize. Right? So let's start with the very first question about why is the falling wedge pattern keeping everyone on the edge of their seats. Right? So to understand where XRP is going, we first have to look at exactly where it is sitting right now. Ever since hitting an incredible all-time high at $3.65 back in 2025, XRP has been locked inside a massive multi-month falling wedge pattern. Right? The trading range has been getting tighter and tighter, compressing the price into a very small corner of the chart. So in this chart, the multi-month falling wedge pattern is indicated by the yellow zone right here. All right. So in my opinion, as a long-time market observer, I have watched asset after asset go through this exact phase. When the market stays flat or pushes downward for months, people lose patience and get bored. But my experience tells me that this heavy compression is exactly what you want to see before a truly historic move. It is like gathering massive energy in a closed container. The longer it stays trapped, the more explosive the breakout is when the lid finally blows off. So I firmly believe that this current silence on the charts is the quiet before the storm. The analyst here, Agra Crypto, pointed out that this isn't just about a normal trendline break. XRP is currently sitting directly inside a major Fibonacci timing window. This means the element of time is aligning perfectly with the structure of the price. The boundaries are set. The room to move sideways is running out, and the asset is being forced into a macro decision zone that will dictate its direction for the rest of 2026. So let's just zoom this chart so that we can get a much better view of this falling wedge pattern. And there you go. So the next question is what happens when XRP attempts to reclaim the crucial $1.66 to $2 zone. Right? The blueprint makes it very clear that we cannot just skip to the double-digit price targets without clearing the immediate obstacles in front of us. The absolute most critical battlefield right now sits between $1.66 and $2 price level. Specifically, the chart highlights $1.66 near the very top boundary of the falling wedge pattern. So this is it. We can see here the yellow price level right here, 1.6666, which is at near the top of this upper portion of our descending wedge pattern right here. So my opinion is that the $1.66 to $2 area is not a psychological number. It is the ultimate line in the sand between a bearish market and an absolute institutional frenzy. I believe that once the price prints a solid confirmation above the $2 price right here, the retail public will suddenly wake up and chase the asset. The biggest gains are always made by those who recognize the structural setup before the rest of the world realizes what is happening. And right now, the smart accumulation is happening while we are underneath the heavy resistance. According to the post shared on X right here, breaking upward and reclaiming this specific zone is what officially activates the macro target box. Until those levels are flipped into solid areas of support, the grand targets remain locked away. But the moment the bulls can push through $2, the entire structure of the chart shifts, opening up the highway to the higher extensions. So let's talk about how do the Fibonacci extensions map the journey toward $18.06. Once the initial breakout conditions are fully met and confirmed, the chart shifts its focus toward a ladder of major extension targets. The technical tools used here aren't operating in isolation. They are working together in perfect harmony. The first major destination on the ladder sits at $8.48, which perfectly aligns with the 1.272 Fibonacci extension levels. All right, so it is right here. It's the 1. It's here 1.272, which aligns with the price of 8.4890. So these are the targets, right? So my opinion is when people hear targets like $8 or $13, they often think it sounds completely unrealistic. But my personal perspective as a market observer is that people vastly underestimate how fast capital flows in the digital asset space once a true breakout occurs. We have seen historical cycles where years of sideways movements were completely erased in a matter of weeks. So to me, a target like $8.48 right here is a very logical resting point where early traders might take some profit before the macro trend resumes its upward journey. So if the momentum carries past this initial level, the next target on the grand blueprint appears at $13.70, which sits right at the 1.414 Fibonacci extension right here. Beyond that, the chart points directly to $18.06 as a massive mid-target area with the broader projected zone. Each of these levels acts like a checkpoint on a map, requiring sustained volume and market confidence to clear. Now, let's go to the most ultimate target right here at $27.68. So what unique milestone stands between the present day and this ultimate target? So the absolute peak of this multi-tool chart sits at $27.68. aligning perfectly with the highly respected 1.618 Fibonacci extension. However, achieving a price target of this magnitude requires the market to clear several specific structural milestones along the way. It is a step-by-step process that relies heavily on monthly candle closes rather than just quick short-term spikes. So, my take on this final $27 target is that it represents the true maturity of the assets market cycle. It isn't going to happen overnight, and there will undoubtedly be sharp pullbacks along the way to test the resolve of the market. But when you look at the macro picture and see multiple tools, such as the Fibonacci circles, channels, extensions, and classical chart patterns, all pointing to this exact same cluster of targets, you realize this isn't a random projection. It is a highly coordinated technical destination that deserves serious attention. So, the analyst Crypto outlined the exact roadmap required to make this a reality. First, we need the wedge breakout right here and a permanent reclaim of the $2 right here to fuel the launch toward the 8.48 dollars region and the $13.70 region. And from here, the bulls must secure a monthly candle close above $3.35 to solidify the foundation. Once a monthly close is established above the previous highs, a final break and hold above $13.70 is the ultimate key that opens up the clear path to $27.68. So my overall conclusion is that when we step back and look at the entire picture, the takeaway is very clear. XRP is wrapping up a massive period of compression that has kept the price tightly contained since the highs of 2025. This isn't just about one single indicator telling us what to do. It is about rare technical confluence where every major analytical tool is pointing toward the exact same macro decision zone. So the immediate focus stays entirely at the $1.66 to $2 boundary. That is the true gateway, where the road to $27.68 requires hitting several major milestones and securing strong monthly closes. The structural foundation is fully laid out on the grand chart. So as always, keep a very close eye on the daily structure and manage your risk properly, and let's see how this massive timing window plays out. And this finally ends our video. Thank you very much for watching and see you on the next one, or you might just as well check this recommended video right here.